Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's August 29th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and pretty nice trend up today. You can see we started off real steep, and generally those kind of steep trends won't last very long. A more healthy trend is more of a 45-degree angle. This one's maybe a little flatter than 45 degrees, but this is kind of what you'll see when you if a trend's going to continue. In most cases, nothing's ever 100%, but in most cases, if you have a trend up like this, it'll flatten out, and then you got more of a two-tiered. We ended up overshooting that and then kind of reversing. So pretty good trading day. Early on, I was looking at this as, well, a couple of different things here. Let me show you. Generally, your trend will start off the lower trend line, but this one just didn't really fit. Let me move that temporarily. Today, I'm sorry, this one didn't really fit that well. Maybe we had a break here and then a move to a new high, but what I really think it was you get this off the highs here and then you just drag it over, and it fits pretty good in there. So I liked it like that. You still get your break and you get a new high, and you just kind of go sideways, but then it continues to kind of creep up and another two-tiered channel. So that's the way I looked at it. But like I said, generally you're going to get that trend off the low of the day, which would have been here. And either way, it still kind of works out the same. A lot of times you'll get a move outside a trend line in the overnight that you just have to kind of ignore. So, but even if you move it down, you still kind of get the same setup. So, still takes you to the same place basically. So, and then on this upper one, at first I thought it was just one tier, like so, but we continued to go down, but continue higher. So I got to looking at it, and I believe it's two-tiered. We ended up overshooting that. But I believe this is a two-tiered channel. This just turned out to be the midline. So that's the way I read it. Once we started going higher here, I measured that first leg, which is there, and then you move it up. And so you're looking for a target here. And you see we went a little bit higher before we kind of finally started moving sideways. So that would have kept you in at least to these highs here. So I always like to show those measured moves because those things come in handy. But let's back out, talk about the trades, and wrap it up for today. First trade I saw was right at the 7 o'clock hour. This is a double bottom, so it's basically a new low. So you get a first entry short, second entry short, it fails and turns higher. You got to go long at the very high of the day. But I think it's worthwhile simply because this is a breakout pullback long as well as a failed second entry short. And so this is probably going to be good for a scalp. It's close to being green, but under the circumstances, I like it for a blue. And then we pull back and test that trend line at EMA, and you get another test of this little double top here. And so it's basically another breakout pullback long. This one was a little bit iffy just because you got a trend line there with no break yet. But the fact that this was the trend line, and this is a key entry point, and it's a pullback, and there's a good bit of room before that high, I felt like it was worth risking. And then you get another, this is basically a little double bottom right here, and so this is basically another failed second entry short, so it's almost a repeat. Again, you got to go long at the high of the day, but this has got a lot more congestion where this one doesn't. And you're real close to the high here, so this one was a little bit, especially since we didn't get to the other side of the trend line or trend channel, and we're coming right back. That's telling you that something's changing. So this one's a little more suspect, but it's still worth considering, and there's some reasons to take it because it is a short trap. So I did mark it green. And then, of course, we don't get to the other side again, and there's a second entry long right here. But again, I don't think it's worth risking there. You get a break, notice we got a trend coming down, but you also get a break of your main trend line here. And then you get a break outside of the short term when new low and it reverses. Nice bullish bar. Go long right there. And that runs up to a new high. And so now you got to be real careful about getting long again. You need a really good setup. And you better follow the rules. So notice that you're working down here. You get a break, 2 legs to a new low, and it reverses right there. So it does reverse right off a measured move for that trend line. So I like going long there. And it's also this, I can never grab the line you want to. It's also a bounce and a double test of this area right here. But notice that we push on up, and there's actually, you should draw your trend line here too. There's actually a trend working up a close outside, and it's like a attempt to get to a new high, and then it pulls back and it hits that trend line again. So and it's coming out of this congestion, so I like going long there again because it's off the key entry point, and it pretty much gives you a confirmation that this is probably right here, and off it goes. And I would be looking for at least a measured move of that right there. You can see that would have got you to the top of the channel, but it actually pushes on through. So, but that gets you back to the top of the channel. And then we're coming down again, and you got another, this is like a little repeat of this one here. You don't get a new low though. And we already have a new high in place. So, but this is a second entry long. But it's right into that trend line. There is plenty of room to get out, but we've already had a break of this, a new high, and we've had an overshoot. So there's a good chance this could be a trap. So I'm not crazy about it, but it does push on up, and it pushes to a new high. I don't see anywhere else in here you want to enter in this congestion. You can see that resistance across there. And notice what happens. It fails. And notice what happens right here. This is real subtle, but you get 2 swings right here, and then this kind of pulls back and confirms it, and it's a nice bearish bar. So I like going short there, just looking for it to come back to the other side at a minimum. Quick, easy scalp, but you don't get much else out of it. So you might have been able to ride this down, but you would have come back here and wouldn't have been worth riding that comeback. So really, I would have exited down here when it starts kind of going sideways. And this is just another little range, and that takes you right into the 2 o'clock hour. You can see we ended up getting a closeout. So we actually got an overshoot here and a close outside, then a move to a new low. So everything kind of followed the rules today. Even though it doesn't look like it, this is a fairly strong uptrend. It got a little flat here, so you had to be a little bit more concerned, but it's still, notice all the little bars and little dojis, but it just keeps pushing and making new highs each time pretty much. And even when it finds resistance, it'll pull back and then end up pushing forward. So that's a strong trend, and that might have led this to be closer to blue here than green. So this one is right on the borderline just because it's a strong trend. But the only reason I don't like making this one blue is because it didn't quite get a new low, but you've also got this shorter term trend line, the close outside a new high, and then you made a lower high here. So that's starting to look like a reversal pattern. If this would have ticked lower right here, I would have said go long for sure, because then you got a short trap and a double test of that low. But it never really trapped people. It just kind of shot up and pushed forward. So it really was too strong to even trap people right there. So pretty good trading day. A couple of these trades you would have caught runners, and you could have ridden it all day really. I probably would have exited any of these runners up in here. So yeah, not a bad day. Everything was really kind of straightforward. And just remember, when you see people get confused on these kind of days because it doesn't look like it, but when you start to see all these little small bars, and really you just kind of keep working higher, making higher highs and higher lows, it's a strong trend even though it doesn't look like it. So you just really need to find reasons to go long based on our rules. And if you can find those, generally they're worth taking. So, um, yeah, not much else we can say about today. Just a reminder that I will be taking vacation next week, so I'll just kind of get that in, start mentioning that each day, so people won't be wondering why there's no videos next week. But I'm going out to Arizona to play in a golf tournament, so I will be gone all next week. Of course, we got the holiday as well. I'm not sure if Monday's a trading holiday. I feel certain it probably is, but I haven't looked at the calendar because I'm not going to be here anyway. So make sure you, usually on those half days, even if they open for till like 10 o'clock or noon or whatever they do sometimes, I wouldn't recommend trading those days because you'll get stuck in some little something like this and just get whipsawed and get stuck in a trade and end up having to close it with a loss or something. So I don't recommend trading those days. You might sim trade it just to get some screen time on a holiday or just to get some screen time period, but I generally would take those holiday days off. I wouldn't trade them. Definitely not live. So, but anyway, just a reminder that I will be gone all next week. Trying to think of anything else. Friday may be a holiday, maybe a shortened day. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that Friday this week will be normal, but I'll look at the calendar between now and then and kind of give everybody a heads up. So, but I'm going to wrap it up today. I'm done. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.